Extreme STEAM Team!
Hello everyone! Thank you for joining the Extreme STEAM Team today. I'm Chemistry Kim and this is Jurassic Jessica. Jurassic Jessica, you're all dressed up today.
I sure am, because today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, paleontology. I have a feeling that our program today is going to be awesome.
Oh, nothing can triceratop that pun.
That's the spirit, Chemistry Kid.
But wait a second, Jurassic Jessica. Paleontology is the study of ancient life, not just dinosaurs.
Really?
Really. There were all sorts of ancient creatures that lived in Florida, including mammoths and mastodons, saber-toothed cats, and giant sloths. Today we're going to visit the Florida Museum of Natural History and learn all about paleontology and fossils. Our friend Petrie interviewed Dr. Bruce McFadden. Let's go to the Dish with Petrie to see what they learned about fossils and paleontology.
Hello, kids! Welcome to the Dish with Petrie, and I'm your host, Petrie! Yay! Today, we will be having a special guest coming to us from somewhere prehistoric. Let's check the Petrie scope right now. Beep, beep, boop. Why, it's Dr. Bruce McFadden from the Florida Museum of Natural History. Hello, Dr. Bruce!
Hi, Petrie. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes, loud and clear.
Excellent.
How are you today?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing fine. I am so excited to have you in the show today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay! So, I am told that you work at the Florida Museum of Natural History.
That's correct, at the University of Florida in Gainesville.
Wow! What is it that you do over there?
I'm a paleontologist, so paleontologists study fossils. And I study the kinds of animals that live in prehistoric times in Florida and elsewhere. And in particular, I'm interested in the kinds of animals, fossil horses that used to live in North America and Florida millions of years ago, but other kinds of animals that used to live in Florida, rhinoceroses, elephants, and other kinds of large animals that used to live in Florida.
Wow! Could you repeat again what a fossil is?
Absolutely. A fossil is the remains of an animal or plant, and that animal or plant lived millions of years ago, but it's been covered over with earth and it's been turned to stone, and therefore it preserves for us to collect in modern day.
Wow, that is so interesting. So, how does one become a paleontologist?
Well, you have to go to school and like science, and you have to like biology and chemistry and physics and math. And then you go to college and you can study paleontology at different colleges. We have a paleontology program, for example, at the University of Florida, but we're not unique. Many other universities and colleges have programs with professors who are paleontologists.
Wow. I want to be one when I grow up.
Well, I think that's great.
All right. So, you said that the fossils were like covered by the earth. So how are you able to get to the fossils?
We dig. We dig down into the earth, into the soil and the sediment, the rocks and sediments underneath to find the fossils.
So how would you know where to find fossils?
Well, based on the age of the rocks and what we know from the study of where people have found fossils beforehand. So sometimes people bring us fossils into the museum and say, I collected this old bone in my cattle pasture or in my sand pit, and we brought it to the museum because we want to know what it is. And sometimes what will happen is they'll say, oh, that's really interesting. And this is a specific example. Several years ago, a farmer brought in a fossil bone, and it turned out to be a rhinoceros that used to live in Florida 6 million years ago.
A rhinoceros in Florida?
Yep.
That is so incredible.
It is. Rhinoceroses used to live in Florida millions of years ago.
Okay, so how do you know the age of the fossil?
Yeah. So we know the age of the fossils because we study the chemistry of the fossil bones and the sediments that the bones were found in, and the sediments the chemistry can tell us how long ago those animals lived.
That is so amazing. So aside from like the rhinoceros, what other prehistoric animals did you find in Florida?
Mammoths and mastodons, terror birds, many other kinds of animals that lived, that no longer live in Florida, but lived here millions of years ago.
What? Did you just say terror bird?
I said terror bird. A terror bird was an animal that was basically flightless. So it moved on land, and it didn't fly, and it was a predator in ancient ecosystems in Florida. So it would be eating other animals. It had a ginormous beak that was really sharpened at the front that could pierce flesh, and the terror bird could feed on basically whatever it wanted to. And it was fast on its feet, and it was an animal that originated in South America and then came northward through the Isthmus of Panama and then came into Florida about 5 million years ago.
Wow! Oh, you must have fossils of the terror bird there in the museum, right?
We do, and we have a replica. We have an artistic replica on display in our fossil hall of a terror bird. It's made out of bronze. It's really, really very interesting. And the terror bird stood about 5 to 7 feet tall, so it was a big animal. Some other really interesting animals that used to live in Florida, like the saber-toothed cat, and other animals we no longer have, gigantic ground sloths, mammoths and mastodons, and it's just really interesting that these animals appear as fossils in Florida, but we no longer find them roaming around Florida today.
I'd like to hear more, please, if you don't mind.
Well, during the past 2 million years, which is called the Ice Ages, where the ice caps were much larger, animals that lived during the Ice Ages in Florida included the horses, mammoths, mastodons, the terror bird, other kinds of animals like gigantic ground sloths, saber-toothed cats, and giant wolves all lived in Florida during the Ice Age. And then at the end of the Ice Age, about 10,000 years ago, all these large animals that we no longer have in Florida became extinct. Extinct means that they disappear from the face of the earth, and these animals no longer exist.
Wow, I'd really like to go to the museum to see that.
You're always welcome. It's a public museum, open to everyone.
All right. So, Dr. Bruce, why did those prehistoric animals go extinct long time ago?
Yeah, so that's a really good question that paleontologists are interested in answering. Basically, if you have climate change or competition from other animals, sometimes animals become extinct. Sometimes animals exist in a particular climate, and if we have rapid climate change, those animals cannot adapt or change fast enough, and then what happens is they die out. Okay. The other option is if an animal comes in that is better adapted to the local environment, then it will basically, what we say, outcompete other native animals that lived there before for the resources, for the food that the animals need in order to exist.
Really? I did not know that. I thought that it was the asteroid that wiped out all the prehistoric animals.
That's a good point. The asteroid impacted 65 million years ago at the end of the age of dinosaurs. And but Florida did not exist during the age of dinosaurs. It was underwater. We had no land. And then the land began to build the outline of Florida about 35 or 40 million years ago, after the age of dinosaurs and after the time that the asteroid hit and resulted in the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Gee, Dr. Bruce, you know a lot of neat stuff. You know, you're just like Dr. Indiana Jones, but you're way cooler.
Well, I don't know about that, but Dr. Indiana Jones and we do different things. We both dig in the dirt, but he digs for different things than I do, and I'd be happy to explain the difference if you want me to.
Please do.
Sure. So I'm a paleontologist. I dig up old bones of animals that used to live millions of years ago. Okay? Indiana Jones is an archaeologist. He digs up the remains of ancient humans and their civilizations, arrowheads, pots, and things like that. So we both dig in the dirt, but an archaeologist digs up the remains of humans and their cultures, and a paleontologist is different. I dig up the remains of ancient animals that no longer live, animals and plants that no longer live on Earth.
Oh, now I know. So, what tools did you use to dig out those fossils?
So it's really simple. It's basically we use small shovels, and we use screwdrivers to dig the dirt out, and sometimes we use trowels to scrape the dirt away. So really, it's not particularly high tech. We use the kinds of tools that you could potentially find at a hardware store.
Oh, but those tools are not like the big shovels, right?
No, I mean, we'll have, sometimes if we want to remove some of the sediment at the top where we know there are no fossils, to get down into the sediments that have the fossils, we'll use a garden shovel. But we don't use any big equipment. Most of what we use are shovels and scrapers and screwdrivers to pry the fossils out of the rock and sediment.
Wow, so you must have gone around the world to digs.
I have. I've worked in I've worked in Panama. I've worked in South America, in the mountains of South America. Mostly I've worked in the Americas. So I've worked in Bolivia, in Argentina, a little bit in Brazil. Then I've done some work in Mexico and Panama. And then I've had some, in addition to Florida, I've also dug fossils in Nebraska and California and Texas.
Wow.
So the cool thing is, as a paleontologist, I'm able to travel to do my work, and I really enjoy traveling and seeing new people and new places.
That's really cool. Now I really want to become a paleontologist.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it's hard work, and if you, it's really a good profession.
Wow, that is so amazing. I learned a lot today, Dr. Bruce. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time here. Because of you, I have learned a lot about Florida, the prehistoric animals, about you being a paleontologist, what a paleontologist does, and the terror bird. Wow, thanks so much. Well,
very good.
Thank you again, Dr. Bruce, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Me too. Bye, Petrie.
Bye. Wow, that was really an exciting interview with Dr. Bruce. I really want to go to my backyard right now and dig for some fossils. But before that, let's see what Chemistry Kim and Jurassic Jessica are doing right now. To the Petri scope. Beep, 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 boop.
Thanks, Petrie and Dr. Bruce. Chemistry Kim, I think that I want to be a paleontologist when I grow up.
That's wonderful, Jurassic Jessica. I know that you can do it. You can do anything that you set your mind to.
Right, let's start digging.
Hold on, Jurassic Jessica. We can't just start excavating at the library. We would need permission from the landowners, and we'd also need help from someone like Dr. Bruce to show us where to dig and how.
Aw, I just want to dig some fossils.
I have a way that we can unearth some fossils right now.
Really? How?
We're gonna make some oobleck.
Ooh, what?
Oobleck. It's a goopy material made from 2 ingredients: cornstarch and water. Let's make some right now. You'll want to use about twice as much cornstarch as water. Here I have 2 cups of cornstarch and 1 cup of water. How much of each ingredient you will need will depend on the size of the container you're filling. We're using a small plastic container today. You'll also need fossils to unearth. I borrowed these from Jurassic Jessica's desk. Is it okay if we use those?
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Thanks, that's great. Just make sure that the bones or toys that you're using, you don't mind getting them messy. Oobleck's gonna make them a little bit messy. All right, let's mix the cornstarch and water together. Okay, I have my special mixing tool here. As you mix, it might start to get a little thick and a little bit hard to mix, but just keep on going. You might need to tilt it from side to side a bit just to really coat that cornstarch together. All right, what do you think about that, Jurassic Jessica?
This oobleck goop feels really cool, but it's all slimy. Aren't fossils trapped in hard rock?
Some of them are. Once you have your oobleck all mixed up and your fossils placed in it, let's pour it in right now. After you do that, you're going to place it outside in the hot sun. We put ours outside for about 2 days. Now let me show you some that's finished and all dried.
Now that's hard as a rock.
Yep, you'll also need some tools for your fossil excavating. A paleontologist might use a hammer, but we're going to use these little screwdrivers. We also have some more tools. We have paint brushes and a putty knife. All right, before we start, we should put on our eye protection. We want to keep our eyes safe. Wow, those are fancy. Let's start excavating. That's awesome. Do you have anything left in yours?
I don't think so.
We should dump it out just to make sure. Yep, I think we found all of our fossils. How about you?
Yes.
All
Found
right.
them all.
Wasn't this such a fun experiment?
No bones about it. This was such a fun idea.
Thanks for being part of the Extreme STEAM team. I hope everyone had as much fun as we did today. Up next, we have an amazing book talk.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Jessica from the Marion County Public Library, and I'm on the lookout for dinosaur books. Did you hear that? Crikey, I think I found some. The first one we have here is We Don't Eat Our Classmates by Ryan T. Higgins. This laugh out loud picture book is all about Penelope's fear of starting school and her struggle with wanting to snack on her classmates. But with the help of her dad, a goldfish, and her classmates, Penelope learns how to make friends and enjoy school. The perfect read-aloud book for the family before bedtime. Oh my goodness, did you hear that again? What do we have here? It's a picture book biography called The Fossil Girl by Catherine Brighton. This book tells the story of Mary Anning, who discovered amazing dinosaur fossils in England in 1810. Her discoveries helped change science forever. Oh my goodness, did you hear that? It sounds like a big one. Oh my goodness, it's one of my favorites. It's a graphic novel called Bolivar by Sean Rubin. This book tells the story of young New Yorker Sybil and her discovery of the dinosaur that lives next door. This beautifully illustrated work can be enjoyed by any age. Do you see one more? Oh my goodness, I just heard one last one. It's a brand new boxcar children mystery called The Secret of Bigfoot Valley. The book follows the Aldens as they go to camp to study paleontology when strange things start to happen around the campground. Is it Bigfoot or something else? Thank you all for joining me on my dinosaur hunt. I have some dinosaurs here that want to say goodbye. Join us all again next time. Bye!